Hi, I'm Kelly Longtin from Kelly Longtin Law, and today we're going to talk about red flags when hiring a professional to be your trustee. Now, when you form a trust as part of your estate plan, one of the most important decisions you will make is who will oversee the trust management when you're no longer able to manage it. So this person is called a successor trustee. Because a trustee's work may be time-consuming, complicated, and there could be a little liability risk there, many people who create a trust consider naming a professional fiduciary as their trustee. When you're looking to hire a professional to serve as your trustee, there are several red flags that I want you to keep in mind. The first is, does this person have adequate resources? A professional's agreement to act as your trustee does not guarantee that they have the resources needed to administer your trust properly. Be proactive about asking some questions. Trust administration is an important job, and you should satisfy yourself that the person you appoint as your trustee is well equipped to fulfill that role. So the following are some of the important functions that you should ask the professional about. You want to ask them about bookkeeping. Do they have a good system for trust accounting? Because those trust funds have to be kept in a separate account that is not commingled with any other funds. So there has to be a system in place to keep separate records of income and principal, disbursements from the account, and receipts and transactions, and other things of this nature. And that professional trustee has a duty to provide information to the trust beneficiaries, and current income or principal beneficiaries are entitled to a detailed accounting to enable them to have a full understanding of the trust transactions, account, and property. You also want to ask about additional record keeping. Now, the professional must be equipped to handle many other record keeping responsibilities as your trustee, including preparing tax returns. This doesn't mean they have to do it themselves, but they can certainly hire someone to do it. They're going to have to handle trust-related correspondence. They're going to have to keep records of the steps that they performed to make sure that discretionary distributions from the trust were made. And then just being able to explain any distributions that are made. You also want to ask, do they have adequate staff? A professional trustee may administer multiple trusts at the same time. And as a result, it's important for their business to have enough trained and experienced staff members who are knowledgeable about trust administration in order to perform the necessary tasks. And then the next question you need to ask yourself or find out the answer to is whether or not that trustee is accessible. So does the trustee you're considering have enough time in their schedule to handle the responsibilities required by the trust? It's important for a trustee to be responsive and accessible, especially when the terms of the trust provide for thoughtfully evaluated distributions such as beneficiaries' health or education or maintenance and support. The beneficiary and the trustee will have to communicate often about distributions that are going to be made on a regular basis. For example, if a beneficiary of the trust requests a distribution to help pay for medical procedure, then the trustee should be able to respond in a timely manner without requiring multiple phone messages or repeated requests. We all hate it when we have to call someone and they don't call us back, and we repeatedly have to call them. So you just want to make sure that that's not going to happen. Another question you want to ask is, does the trustee have a succession plan? If the trust is set to continue for many years, it may not be prudent to hire someone who is going to be retiring soon, especially if your trust beneficiaries are minors. So regardless of the age of the trustee, it is important to ask if the trustee has a succession plan in place. Because let's face it, no one can work forever. Although the terms of your trust should address who will act as a successor trustee, if the trustee that you initially appoint is unable to continue in this role, if your trust gives the trustee the power to designate a successor, you should ask who will step into their shoes if something does happen to them. Another important question that needs to be asked and answered is whether the trustee is willing to work with other advocates for your beneficiaries. So in some situations, for example, if a beneficiary is a minor or has special needs, then the trustee will need to cooperate and communicate with other caregivers. In the case of a special needs trust, for example, the beneficiary may be incapable of safeguarding their own interests. In such a situation, it is essential that there be a caregiver or an advocate who can effectively communicate the needs of the beneficiary to the trustee. The trustee must have the time and the willingness to maintain regular contact with these advocates. Now, once you choose a professional trustee that you feel comfortable with, be sure to notify them that they have been named as trustee, even if they will not have to act until you're no longer able to or have passed away. Your decision to name a particular professional as trustee does not mean they must accept that position. Because being a trustee is an important role with many responsibilities and demands, notifying your choice now will avoid problems later if the professional you have chosen does not want the job, particularly if you're no longer around to appoint someone else. Now, if your initial choice declines after you notify them, then you can either appoint another trustee that you've vetted rather than forcing your beneficiaries to go to court to resolve that matter, which, as we know, can be expensive and time-consuming. So I understand how important it is for you to choose the right trustee. So you just want to make sure that you give this a lot of thought, or contact your estate planning attorney in your area and have them help you walk through this and help you come to a decision that makes the most amount of sense for you and your family. So I want to thank you for watching. If you want to learn more about estate planning, please like and subscribe to our page. I'm Attorney Kelly Longtin from Kelly Longtin Law.